Happy New Year's! And welcome to another episode of Matheson Talks, where we discuss tech and everything in between. My name is Mike Vega, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mariano Chiesa. Hello, Mariano.
Hi, Mike. Happy to be here.
Thank you. And Happy New Year's, by the way.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you. Quick note, we'd love to hear your comments as we're always checking our Twitter and LinkedIn at Matheson Talks. This episode has been sponsored by Matheson Projects, Inc., a web development company. We're actually offering a custom-coded trading bot right now. Our bots can connect to any major trading platform and to perform high-frequency algorithm trading. It's perfect for those that want to take emotions out of their trading. You can check it out at fiverr.com/Matheson Studios. For those who are hearing us for the first time, we'd like to invite you to check out our previous episodes where we discuss cybersecurity, data protection, how to fight hunger with AI, and much more. In the fourth part of this series, we'll delve deeper into the UN's 2030 Agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals. These are the blueprints to achieve a better and more sustainable future for all. These goals address the global challenges we face, including poverty, inequality, climate change, environmental degradation, justice, and peace. Climate action. The global temperature has already risen 1.1 Celsius above the pre-industrial level, with glaciers melting and the sea level rising. The impacts of climate change, also including flooding and drought, displacing millions of people, sinking them into poverty and hunger. The effects of global warming has denied people access to basic services such as health and education, thus broadening inequalities, stifling economic growth, and even causing social conflict. By 2030, an estimated 700 million people will be at risk of displacement due to drought alone. Taking urgent action to combat climate change and its devastating impacts is therefore imperative to save lives and livelihoods, and the key to making the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and its 17 goals a reality. In 2020, the concentrations of global greenhouse gases reached new highs, and real-time data pointed to continued increases. As these concentrations rise, so does the Earth's temperature. In 2021, the global median temperature was about 1.1 Celsius above the pre-industrial level, which is considered from 1850 to 1900. The years from 2015 to 2021 were the 7 warmest ever to be recorded. To limit warming to 1.5 Celsius above pre-industrial levels, as set out in the Paris Agreement, global greenhouse gas emissions will need to peak before 2025. They then must decline by 43% by 2030 and to net zero by 2050. Countries are articulating climate action plans to cut emissions and adapt to climate impacts through nationally determined contributions. However, current national commitments are not sufficient to meet the 1.5 Celsius target. As we agree with Luis Minvia in our episode on the Internet of Things, it is imperative to understand that the challenges society faces. Carbon dioxide emissions must be lowered, and everyone is responsible for doing their part. In this case, technology contributes in many ways. Electric cars, or sensors to measure the efficiency of our elements of their daily use and improve the consumption of water, electricity, or fossil fuels. Even video call meetings enter the picture. They help us reduce the need to travel to offices that require electricity, cooling, and heating, or maintenance. Almost any job can be decentralized. At Matheson Projects, for example, we believe that the concept of work from anywhere is more relevant than ever. As a company, we've adapted to what the pandemic has shown us, that there were jobs that were ready to keep providing the same level of service than before, and that other roles and tasks needed an update.
Yes, it is imperative for us to understand that little actions makes great things. Because, for example, we are working from our houses or from a cafe or from a shared location, the co-working location, we are making a big difference because we are not commuting, we are not wasting fuel in travel, I don't know, 1 hour to an office. That office is not necessary, so we don't need to hire or rent people to maintain that or to keep that working, air conditioning, electricity, and take a look. If for us, or thanks to us being in our homes, how many things that change. So little actions make great progress.
Exactly. But, a lot of it is also bureaucracy at play, because I remember the Paris Agreement. It was such a big deal because it was finally like where countries agreed, okay, we need to really do something about climate change. And the United States joined and everybody was happy. And then I think in 2020, the United States said, you know what? No, we're backing out. We're out of it. Okay, so they left. Then Biden went into office, and now we are back in the Paris Agreement, to everybody's joy. So a lot of it is bureaucracy as well, which is a lot. We can only do so much, but I just hope our governments stay in line and really take this issue seriously, because we're all noticing the effects. And I know personally, we're seeing major droughts on the West Coast, whether it's Lake Mead, which we had an episode about. If you guys want to listen to Lake Mead, Aaron Sims, a politician out there, he highlighted it as well. So it's a very serious issue that we should take to the forefront.
Yes, and here in Paraguay, we have not cloud, we have a smoke season. Because when summer arrives and temperatures go high, the waste that is dropped everywhere, or people burning their own waste, creates smokes, clouds of smoke, and this pollutes the air of the whole city. And actually, we shouldn't forget about the lobby of these kind of companies, the oil companies and the electricity companies, or even the lobby that a big building can do to keep the companies with office there.
Exactly. Yep. There's just there's a lot of bureaucracy behind it, but again, it's just a matter of just making these changes, but sticking to them. The United States entering and then backing out and then entering again. I mean, it's just why we should just stick to it and make it a goal, and that's it, because we only have until 2050. And we only have until 2030, actually. Mm-hmm. But 2050, we hope to get to net zero. So, yeah, it's very serious. The next point is life below water. The ocean drives global systems that make the Earth habitable for humankind. Our rainwater, drinkable water, weather, climate, coastlines, much of our food, and even the oxygen in the air we breathe. They are all ultimately provided and regulated by the sea. Careful management of this essential resource is a key feature toward ensuring a sustainable future. However, at the current time, we face a continuous deterioration of coastal waters owing to pollution. Furthermore, ocean acidification is having an adverse effect on the functioning of ecosystems and biodiversity. This, in turn, is negatively impacting small-scale fisheries. Saving our ocean must remain a priority. Marine biodiversity is critical to human and planetary health and safety. Marine protected areas need to be effectively managed and well-researched. Also, regulations that reduce overfishing, marine pollution, and ocean acidification must be implemented. Oceans cover 3/4 of the Earth's surface, contain 97% of the Earth's water, and make for 99% of the living space on the planet by volume. The statistics are overwhelming. For example, oceans absorb about 30% of carbon dioxide produced by humans, which buffers the impacts of global warming. Carbon emissions for human activities are causing global warming, acidification, and oxygen loss. the ocean has also absorbed more than 90% of the excess heat in the climate system. Ocean heat is at record levels, causing widespread marine heat waves. In a previous episode, we talked about the importance that the UN gives in taking care of our natural resources, especially water. Hard work is being done on technologies that allow the purification of saline water with some effective and low-cost method. But in the meantime, it is everybody's responsibility to, through good waste management, contribute to improving the actual state of things and to prevent it from getting worse. New materials that could replace plastic are now being developed. These resources are 100% biodegradable, and that way they keep human waste from getting into the ocean, from contaminating the seas. There are also new ways to collect, reuse, and recycle the disposables that are currently in the marine ecosystem.
Yes, we saw all the time these I don't remember the word for seagull, actually seagull, that's the word I was looking for. The seagull passing through the head through the small beer rings or the plastic rings. So we saw that examples, and we should remember that even if we are not living near the shore, we should be responsible with our waste and not throwing, for example, plastic in our toilet, because that will reach eventually the sea, and this will create even more problems. We can see that even that this is not in our agenda, in our everyday agenda, we know that the sea is really important for our life. It's a matter of life or death.
Yeah, exactly. Did you by any chance hear about this mass crabs dying in the Bering Sea floor, that there's like a die-off of about 84% of crabs? So it happened this year. And it was such a big deal that the Department of Fish and Game, they had to close the fishing for the crabs because 11.7 billion crabs have died so far, almost extincted them all because of the ocean's warming. So we're having like real life consequence and effect, and literally catastrophic effects, where this food, or these crabs are just dying. And we had to take some unprecedented action to combat it, but it's all due to the ocean warming. The next goal is life on land. So we talked about, life underwater. Now we're talking about life on land, which is obviously going to be land animals. And, so nature is critical to our survival. But human actions regarding waste, whether it's pollution and overall consumption, has altered almost 75% of the Earth's surface, and is forcing wildlife and nature into an even smaller corner. Around 1 million animal and plant species are currently at risk of becoming extinct. Many could even disappear within decades. According to the 2019 Global Assessment Report on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Service, this report called for transformative changes that can restore and protect ecosystems. Among its findings, they said that the health of ecosystems is deteriorating quicker than ever, affecting the very foundation of our economies, livelihoods, food security, health, and quality of life. Deforestation caused by human activity, which translates into climate change, pose major challenges to sustainable development. For example, forests are vital for protecting life on Earth and play a major role in the fight against climate change. And investing in land restoration is critical for improving livelihoods, reducing vulnerabilities, and reducing risk for the economy. The health of our planet also plays an important role in the emergence of zoonotic diseases, which is pretty much diseases that are transmissible between animals and humans. And we all know what happened, right? As we continue to encroach on these fragile ecosystems, we put humans into contact with wildlife more and more, which enables the pathogens that are present in wildlife to be transmitted. They become transmissible. to livestock and humans. That is one of the main reasons why the risk of disease emergence and spreading is rising. And technology plays a fundamental role in caring for the environment. When electric cars emit less greenhouse gases and help fight climate change, the integration of sensors in factories and companies help to proactively measure the consumption of resources and the efficiency of their processes, seeking to achieve maximum efficiency and improving environmental impact. After the COVID pandemic, humans could largely understand that our planet is one big unit, where the actions of one affect the well-being of others. That is why the UN has made the protection of the environment to be one of the objectives to be achieved for 2030.
Yes, and I will remark the last part of the one of your paragraphs saying about talking about the zoonotic diseases, because we stop the world by some guy eating a bad soup all over all across the world, and you will think this won't reach USA or Latin America because that happened in China, but we saw for a fact that we are all affected and we are all in this together. And I sound like High School Musical, but
it's true though. It's true. The way that it just was able to go across borders, across sea, it just speaks a volume to how connected we are as a species, even more so than ever.
Yes.
The next point is peace, justice, and strong institutions. So we have conflict, insecurity, weak institutions, and the limited access to justice remain a great threat to sustainable development. The number of people fleeing war, persecution, and conflict was more than 70 million in 2018, the highest level ever recorded by the UN Refugee Agency in almost 70 years. In 2019, the United Nations tracked 357 killings and 30 enforced disappearances of human rights defenders, journalists, and trade unionists in 47 countries. As an added global issue, the births of around 1 in 4 children under the age of 5 are never officially recorded, depriving them of a proof of legal identity, crucial for the protection of their rights and for access to justice and social services. Unfortunately, this past year has shown us a clear example of why this point is a priority for the 2030 agenda. It's exemplified by the war between Ukraine and Russia. And as we have already mentioned, even if there are 2 countries that come into conflict, the world is going to suffer from it. People are fleeing their places of origin, countries that have to prepare infrastructure to receive these refugees, problems in the chain of distribution, economic pressures, and the threats of high-impact conflicts are cause for great concern. So from Mathis and Project Inc., we believe that it is imperative that we start looking for a way to live in harmony, developing together towards a better future for all.
I think this is one of the more utopic goal of the UN, but is one of the more important goals, because it's not only about wars, and you have wars in Asia, you have wars in Middle East, you have wars for oil, for territory, for land, for water in the near future. You have wars all over the world, but you have dictatorships. Most of Africa are handled by guerrillas or dictatorships, or even in Latin America, you have dictators, and it's really complicated to move forward and as a whole unit, as a world, if we don't change those things. It's not only the wars, it's to change the whole culture of some countries.
And I think that's one of the hardest things, is changing the culture of some countries, because I was watching another podcast, it was by an ex-CIA agent, and he pretty much said that, you can go into countries and want to really do good, but sometimes the culture just won't allow it for that to happen,
Yes, and it's true. It's hard to listen, actually.
Yeah. This concludes the 4th part of this series of the UN's 2030 Agenda, the Sustainable for Development Goals. There's still a single point to cover, which we hope to do so in a roundtable discussion by yours truly. We hope to have shed light on some of the most important challenges facing humanity in the 21st century. If you have any feedback or suggestions, or just want to leave a comment with your thoughts, be sure to check out our Twitter at Matheson Talks. And for your traders out there, just a friendly reminder, we have a custom code trading bot, and it can access all your major trading networks to perform high-frequency algorithm trading. You can check it out at myfiverr.com/Matheson Studios. And again, we'd like to wish you and your loved ones a happy new year.
Yes, Happy New Year.